Okay, we got it. Yay. I hate that.
A little rough there. We went live, but not really.
I know. Well, I forgot
False alarm.
I forgot to put the Wi-Fi on, so minor details. Here, I'm just gonna get over here and see Nikki a little better.
Hi.
So we are so excited to really kick this off today. Hi Chandler for coming. We're so excited. This week is all about mind-body connection, and before we really get into it, I wanted to reintroduce ourselves because maybe you weren't here last week. And so I'm Shelly Owens. I am one of the co-founders of the Intuition Academy, and this is my co-host Niki, one of our first mentors. Well, she is officially our first mentor. Woo! I always have a hair thing when I get started. But we thought it would be important to revisit the reasons why we thought it was important to create this series for you. Niki's been working on this for a long, long time, and I'm just really exploring it myself, and I'm being coached by Niki, so it's really kind of cool to be in this parallel and share the experiences along with you all. So yeah, that's really to go back to the reason why we felt it was so important to bring Niki on is she has this long list of classes that she's been in or taken or graduated from, but she has really, once you get to know her story a little more, I think it's going to be obvious the reason why she's in this mentor space. And so, hi Levi, thanks for joining us.
Hi guys.
So yeah, what really inspired you to do this series?
Ooh, so many things. Well, first off, being a health and life coach, there's so many avenues of ways you can coach people and things you can touch on. And I really wanted to steer clear of the mainstream form of like nutrition coaching and like personal training. I really wanted to get away from the cookie cutter idea of what health is. And so I've been really exploring what that looks like or ways to dig deeper with people, because I really feel like health is just so much more than going to the gym or following a strict meal plan. So along that journey of trying to get more creative, Shelly and I have really tapped into ways that we can connect with people on a deeper level. And through that, naturally, the Ignite Your Light series came about because we felt like, what can we do to help bring out the light that's already within people, and do it in a way that's encompassed with holistic health. And so this talk series is basically just based on topics to uncover ways to become more of who you truly are, your best self. A lot of it may be woo-woo, whatever you want to call it. It's also very scientific, all about the energy and quantum physics, so you can choose which side you want to be on. But that's just our vibe. That's how we want to coach and how we want to work with people. And if that resonates with you, like hop on our calls, get a feel for the way that we want to coach people and the way that we want to bring this work out into the world. And so that's kind of the basis of what we wanted to do, just really start giving you the tools to each week as we go along to work on these methods and tips that we give you and see if it helps unravel anything for you.
Yeah, and as far as the Intuition Academy goes, I really want to, if you feel like you would be a good mentor, and this is resonating with you and you feel like you have knowledge and something different that the world deserves to hear, please message us. I'm the one that's behind that messaging service, so that's really the intention. Niki's going to train this class today, and I'm just going to be kind of a sounding board and ask questions along the way. If you guys have questions on Facebook Live that you want to ask Niki, I will be filtering those and kind of bringing those up along the way. So should we get started?
Let's do it.
Okay, cool. Really quick, before you get started, you started on something, and the biggest importance of this series, I would say, is with social media being so dominant in our everyday life, and I was in this training last week, and this woman said something about how back in the day we did not have like the exposure to thousands of people,
Yeah.
celebrities had that kind of exposure to people. And so I was feeling like we are very conscious now of what our identity is, or we're very lost, right?
Totally.
Social media is like either one way or the other. And so yeah, do you want to maybe start on why identity, or maybe go into why that, you can go start, but that's really the purpose of this, is to truly assist people in that.
Totally, yeah, that's going to be a huge topic, just because we're in this world of technology that's like emerging rapidly, and I feel like that's a huge reason why a bunch of depression and anxiety is coming up, because there's this constant need to be seen. And so there feels like the sense of no sense of privacy, or having to put yourself out there in a certain way. So it's like there's this constant pressure all the time. So kind of like what Shelly was saying earlier, we can really use it to navigate and spread a beautiful message and connect with people, or it can be completely debilitating. We can get into comparisonitis. We're really comparing our journey to other people. Our lives feel like it's less than. And the thing about social media is people only post like the good stuff. Like,
no, guess what? This is the crazy thing that's happening. If you think about it, we work with Every Teen Scene, which is a local nonprofit in Utah. But one of the things we're totally discovering is the fake Insta, or having two separate accounts. And I feel like a lot of adults do that. I do that with my business. Like, I'm going to show this side on my business and this side on my personal, and block everybody out. But I think it is creating like an identity crisis a little bit. So the Intuition Academy and the mentors in this space are really allowing people to figure out who they are, and embracing the uniqueness, so that we can be creative and find solutions to problems.
Amen. I love it.
So, okay.
That's a beautiful thing to really dig into, and give tools for others to help navigate. Because with all of this social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever it is that you use, Snapchat, we're always having to put ourselves out there, and like, it's almost like we're choosing our masks each day. Like, who am I going to be today? So what's amazing is it can be a tool to really help you get comfortable within yourself, with who you truly are. And what's hard is being really vulnerable. But honestly, anytime I make posts or videos that are really vulnerable and make me feel scared, I get the biggest responses. And it's because people want real. And so you can begin to use social media and navigate that through using it as a process of uncovering who you really are, and kind of allowing it to be a tool to be yourself.
Well, and I want it to be real. You know what I mean? I go there for this connection, but it gets really frustrating when all I see is fake stuff on there. Like, it is time to be vulnerable, and it is time to be ourselves. And being vulnerable allows us to really uncover and pull away all the layers of who we are. And sometimes it looks really ugly, or it feels really yucky, and it's like, oh, this sucks. But it's cool to know that you have a team and people surrounding you that's totally just going to encourage you to be your bright light. We see you, and we want to see it.
Yes.
Be nurtured and grow in this world. So we are creating on the 12th. So the night of the 11th and the 12th, we are staying up at Snowbird. And so we will be going through this series with you for the next 4 weeks. But the magic is really going to happen at the retreat, where we put all of this together, and then we really kind of come up with a plan with whatever it is in your life to really like execute. Or you just know you have a whole group of women there to encourage you to get it out. So all right,
Totally. Okay, let's get started. Mind-body connection. What does that even mean? So I want to start off with saying that everything is energy, and you create what you think. And so the majority of our lives, we get kind of put on defense. We think that things are happening to us, when really our lives are simply based on a result of where our mind operates.
Give me an example of that. Like, can you think of an example of... Okay, I got it. Can I tell a quick?
Yes,
Like
please
my
do.
favorite story ever is I used to be a real estate agent, and they would teach you all these like dream board activities. And I am from the hood, or well, from Kearns in Utah. Like there's really not a hood, but I just never. I had a very limited mindset. So when I got my house, it was on my dream board, and there's all these crazy ways of how we got into it. But it was just that pure intent of knowing what I wanted, and it showed up, you know?
Totally.
So is that an example?
Totally, 100%.
Sorry.
Yeah. So she shifted, that's a great example. She shifted her mindset, her thoughts, and what she wanted to create, and then put that out into the universe. And she had to shift some beliefs around, okay, I'm a girl from the hood. What can I do to create living in a space and in an area that feels safe or like a community? And as she did that, she then created this house. So going off of that, one way of thinking of it is your personality creates your personal reality. So the way that you think, the way that you feel, the way that your mind operates, it's a continuum. So based on all of that, your personality is going to be what you're creating into your life. So let's see. So if you are trying to create new things in your life and you keep the same personality, nothing is ever going to change. You literally have to become somebody new. And that's kind of where the whole idea of like visualization comes into mind. You have to see who it is that you want to be as if you are already that person. And this kind of goes into like Tony Robbins kind of stuff. I don't know if any of you guys watch his stuff, but a lot of it is about embodying who you want to be, and it's getting into what that person would feel like. How would they act? If you were to look at your future self, what are they doing? What are the daily habits they're doing to create who they're being? Things like that, just stepping into who you want to become. You have to shift your personality to change your personal reality.
Totally act as if it's happening.
Yeah.
You know, like when you're buying a house, you're driving up and down the streets, shopping, looking at all the stores. Like that's really what I was doing, was trying to picture myself living there. It's totally not conscious of that was just like the first aha. Yeah. And then I think once you realize that you can manifest or create that, then you start noticing the little miracles along the way.
Totally.
Or the more you recognize it, the more they show up. Yeah.
And that's a great example too. Aside from just meditating and thinking about it, getting into your car and physically driving through the streets that you may live down, really tapping into all of the senses to make it as real as possible is going to be the quickest way you can create whatever it is that you want in your life. So one of the sayings that I really love is, thoughts are the language of your brain and feelings are the language of your body. And that to me is really key with the mind-body connection. They totally correlate. And a lot of people, I know they say like, don't listen to your feelings. They don't, like if your hormones are all over the place, like your feelings aren't truth, listen to your thoughts. But they totally go back and forth. Your body's going to tell you when something's out of tune in your mind. Like if your thoughts don't resonate with something, your body's going to try and tell you somehow with the way it's feeling or for whatever comes up.
Yeah, like last week when there was something I wasn't communicating and I kept feeling like this lump in my throat, and I told you about it, and you're like, you need to speak your truth. And so listening as those little things pop up, and Levi, yes, shift does happen. I love it. Your personality
Awesome.
creates personal reality.
Totally.
It's true, yeah. But as soon as I let that go and I communicated what I wanted to, it went away.
Easy as that.
Right.
It's as simple as identifying like what's coming up for you. And that could be like a whole other topic of physical manifestations in the body based on what you're not allowing to emerge. So like she said, the tightness in the throat. She's not speaking her truth. Yeah. So another thing that we can do is you have to start to condition your mind, or to condition your body to change your mind, because your body's constantly holding on to thoughts. Your body is like 95% of your subconscious, think of your body as like your subconscious mind. It holds every single memory. In your brain, that's tucked away into your subconscious mind, so you're not constantly thinking about it. But your subconscious mind, 95% of your life is ran by your subconscious mind, and about 5% is ran by our conscious mind.
That blows my mind.
I like to say it in a way that we're basically all 8-year-olds just like walking around in the world because...
Well, thank God, I'm trying to find that inner child to figure out where I lost it. You know, Hi, Tiffany. I love to say hello to everyone so you know we see you, and we're so glad you're here. But that's interesting. The heart is our biggest muscle, and I totally know how that feels to get emotions trapped in the body. So keep going on about the emotions in the body. That's fascinating.
Totally. So again, kind of touching back on, your body is your unconscious mind, and it does not know the difference between an actual experience in your life versus an imagined experience. So that's how powerful visualization and meditating is, because your brain can't differentiate if that thing you're thinking about has actually already happened. So that's the power of the mind and tuning in with how your unconscious is always working. And then going forward into our body, holding on to emotions, your body's trying to release these emotions by getting into motion. That's the best way to release them. I think of emotion like in motion. And when we don't do things to release them, we're holding on to so many emotions and like traumas and pains inside our body, and that's how we're operating on a daily basis because our body has been holding on to them for so long.
I know they're like, no, but my favorite way is, and I'm just gonna keep saying this over and over because I've been having so much fun with you, Niki. Like, I'm so happy to have you as my coach. But we go dancing, like we go do ecstatic dance, or I've been riding bikes, or we went roller skating. I mean, we've been doing these fun activities that we used to love when we were little. Yeah, breathing, and I can feel it. Like it's taking it away from the working out. It's like getting reconnected with what truly brings joy, and that's a natural workout. Like I'm naturally feeling it in my body, and I feel so good, and I'm seeing results. Losing weight.
Hey.
Naturally, and having fun. So
yes, that's the best way to lose weight, right?
I think so.
When you're not focused on it. And that's probably why weight falls off easier, is because that's not your constant intention. That's not there's like this force and this drive behind losing weight. And when we're in resistance, whatever resists persists. Yeah. And so when you kind of let go of, oh, I need to lose weight, or I need to do this, I need to do that, and you're just like, what can I do to feel good? Your body is gonna love you, and your cells are just gonna like fire up and be like, you're finally treating me with love, let me treat you with love back. That's how it works. So how emotions are stored in the body. This will be a great way for you guys to remember. The issues are in your tissues. One more time.
The issues are in your tissues.
Yes. So our past experiences, they leave us feeling a lot of hurt and pain. And again, we hold on to that. Like I was saying earlier, your body literally remembers everything. Probably more so than your mind, because your mind is trying to protect you. And that's why it puts kind of all those past traumas and hurts in your subconscious mind. Because if that was constantly in your conscious, you would be like in fight or flight mode all the time, like trying to survive. And so, but the body can't forget it until you learn how to release it. Let's see. So basically, like your emotions in your body, they don't just magically disappear. You have to be very intentional with how you release them, and you can do that in many different ways. So think of it like, let's say you're doing the laundry and you put a load of clothes in there, but then you don't go through the rinse cycle, and it just like stays in there, right? The clothes are gonna get really nasty and dingy and smell like mildew and moldy. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's because think of that as like your emotions. They're just like sitting there, like festering and just getting nasty. So what you have to do is learn how to cycle them. And for an example, let's say I'm upset. Something happened, I'm really upset, and my best friend is like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? She's concerned, and I just kind of blow it off, you know, like I don't want to put that on her, and so I just say, yeah, I'm fine, everything's good, when really deep down, like, I really want to cry, and whatever it is that I'm feeling, I'm just not letting it out. By me not doing that, I'm not allowing those emotions to cycle out of my body to allow them to heal. So then that just festers in and stays deep down inside, and that's where the limiting beliefs stay stored. Like when we're kids too, something traumatic happens, we're not able to express that, so then there's now like this new limiting belief around whatever that experience was, and
or
that
something
stays in
will
you.
start to, like, I notice when I ignore something, you know, that's been festering up, or something I haven't released or whatever, then it will show up in lesson after lesson after lesson. So it's interesting.
That's the way the universe works. It's constantly showing us, because like I said earlier, based on everything is energy, and what you think you create. So because that part of her that wasn't solved, she's going to continually recreate it subconsciously because it's in her energetic field, and it's going to keep showing up and showing up and showing up, and it's like, okay, when are you going to deal with this? When are you going to work through this? So,
and then when we shift that mentality of like, okay, this is showing up for me,
for me,
not to me. And then there's been many times where I'm like, but then at the end of the day, you're like, oh my gosh, now I know why that thing happened, and can be grateful for it. And I think once you shift into that gratitude is the minute you can release or remove the judgment off of something. I feel like karma has a lot to do with us judging the way that something shows up in our world, you know? So I don't know if that went off topic a little bit.
No, that was right on point. So, talking about energies of the body, do you feel like there's any energies that you've been holding on to, or how do you know that you're still holding on to something that you haven't released? Like, what tells you that?
When I'm breathing, you've been meditating for over a year. You just celebrated I'm so impressed. But I think that's when I started learning how to meditate, or how to get a full breath all the way through, because I wasn't breathing. And so when I go all the way in, I can feel certain blocks in my body now. And so I have a spot right now. I point to this spot in my rib cage, and I know I got some healing to do around there. And I have some, you know, ideas of what it is. And so that's how I find out.
Yeah. And that's a good point as far as the breathing goes. So many of us like live our daily lives where we're in shallow breath. Yeah. And breath is a beautiful way of releasing that energy. There's so much life and power to breath. I feel like breath is totally underrated. So that's beautiful that you've tapped into that and have learned to breathe through it. Get your heart rate up.
I mean, like a lot of the people, when we talk about mind, body, spirit, like it is all interconnected, and I think it of course is the way to feel the best. But I can feel the pain too. So if you're feeling a pain in something, you know,
or a tightness,
do some Google on that and see what maybe emotion.
Or come listen to these lives.
Yeah,
we got you.
We'll pinpoint it. So
totally. So let's get into how to release that energy and some of those limiting beliefs. We'll give you some tips and tools. Oh, it froze.
Dang it.
Sorry.
Well, hopefully it's on. Well, it looks like it's gone on our end.
Okay.
You think we're good?
Hopefully.
I know.
Okay, so how to release your emotions and to prevent limiting beliefs from being stored. One thing that you can start with, it's a simple one, but probably really hard for most people, is to acknowledge your feelings in the moment they come up and to feel them. So often we try to discount what we're feeling. Oh, I'm fine. It's all good. Yeah. Everything's good. No, it's not. It's like we've had this this idea or this belief that it's polite to not talk about what's really going on. I think we have this perception that if we talk about it, then we're being negative or we're weighing them down, when really it's a big form of like creating a disconnect between other humans. Like, the reason why we're here is to share our humanness and the stuff that comes up, so we can work through it. So tip number 1 would be to acknowledge your feelings and then to feel them.
Yeah, get comfortable in the uncomfortable. Levi always says that. I hope we're able to see everyone here. What do you think? Really quick, I just want to see. All right, well, we're going to just...
Maybe we are frozen.
I know. I saw somebody come back in there, but...
I wonder if we can... I'll check the live on my phone.
How does that work? We're going to take a quick little pause.
Shelly, take it over. Talk on the topic.
Okay, cool. So we're on my phone, so that makes sense. The limiting beliefs, that is true, or the disconnect and the blocks, and I've seen that show up a million times every time that I've done that.
We're still going.
Okay, cool. There it is live. We're
solid. We're solid. All is well. Oh, Niki Decera's watching cool. And on live.
All right,
2 places at once.
Okay.
So again, going on to being able to acknowledge the feelings and feel them. This is so important for parents and their children and their relationship. Parents, if you can just hold a space for your kids and really allow them to talk about their feelings and then let them feel it, instead of making them feel like you can't be angry, you can't throw a tantrum, whatever it is, like they're feeling that way for a reason. So maybe step back and be like, why is my child feeling this way, and get curious about it versus shaming them for it. I think that's where a lot of it starts, us feeling like we can't feel, because we're shamed as kids. You can't feel sad, you can't feel angry, we're trying to like shush them. So parents, this could be a really powerful tool to...
Why would they want to do that though? Like, I'm noticing with my kids, I wanted to just kind of absorb the pain, especially when giving them the social media and realizing all the bullying and stuff that comes up out of it. So my question is, why would we want to encourage the sensitivity?
Yeah, I love that. Because we are sentient beings. Like, we are sensitive. All of us are. And for someone to say they're not sensitive, they're just not in tune with their emotions. But we're all very sensitive creatures, and there's no shame in our emotions. That's a way we express ourselves. That's a way we feel. So kind of releasing the idea that it's bad or unacceptable. The quicker we can get those emotions out, the easier life is. When we're kids, that is when these limiting beliefs get ingrained, because we aren't allowed to feel these things. And so when this traumatic thing happens, or we have these experiences that were painful, that gets stored in our body at a really young age, and then that's why we operate the way that we are now.
And that's why we're seeing a lot of the chaos that we're seeing right now, because we're just so out of alignment with who we are. So
totally,
I love that.
Yeah. And then for adults, for us, it's kind of like we have to do reverse engineering. It's like, okay, we've got all of these limiting beliefs stored in us because we haven't learned how to express our emotions. How can we take a step back and figure out where this came from? So in a sense, we are kind of reversing what we've done, whereas with the younger kids, the younger generation, we can kind of start to work to prevent that, just because we are creating more awareness around it.
I can't wait to see a world with more empathy. I've been praying for that. It sounds
It's
awesome.
happening.
It is happening.
Another tip would be exercise and movement. And I know there's a lot of, I don't want to say taboo, but beliefs around exercise, that you only do it to look good, or only people who exercise or lift or bodybuilders or whatever it may be. The point of movement isn't only to look good, it's to feel good. And there's a reason why our body craves movement. Our body is literally like creating this energy within us to release that.
Describe a little bit about what that does, like the importance. I think it's important for everyone to kind of acknowledge and take accountability for how their vibe is showing up in this world. Like,
totally,
we can't see it. Not everyone can see it, but your vibe is real. And so maybe explain a little bit about how movement affects that and why.
Totally. So with movement, like I said, this whole topic, it's all about emotions being stored in the body. Think of like a sedentary person. Sedentary just meaning that you don't move a lot. A lot of times they're very depressed. They might be overweight. They don't feel like they're clear on their path or their purpose in life. And that's not to say that they're less than or, oh, they don't have a purpose or anything like that. No, it's because their emotions are so stuck in their body. Everything is stagnant. There's no forward movement. So simply getting in tune with how you want to move, you don't need to do it, again, to look good, any of that. Do it to feel good. Do it with the intention that every time you move your body, you're healing a part of yourself. You are releasing grief. You're releasing pain. You're releasing sadness, frustration. Like when you get angry, that's a great way to channel that anger and put it into your workout. Release it, it's gone.
Yeah.
And the other part that's amazing with moving your body and working out is it's releasing endorphins as well, which are the feel-good chemicals. So not only are you releasing the emotions within the body, you're releasing those endorphins in your brain, which then allows that creativity and feel-good emotions to flow through.
Yeah. And you're starting to, I've noticed when my vibe is higher, I start to be a magnet for things that I want to create, or people like Niki, or, you know, the people that start showing up in my space are in alignment with, they're a lot of times mirrors of how I'm showing up in the world in some way, you know? So.
Yes. And yeah, along with the vibe, that goes back to the energy. What energy are you permitting out? It's not something done consciously that's on that energetic field and goes into quantum physics and all that, but however it is that you're operating energetically, you're putting that out into the universe with, like what she said, you're then attracting back whatever it is you're putting out. So whatever your experiences are in life, look at that as a mirror to how you're operating, how you're thinking, your thoughts, things that you've been holding on to. Certain things are going to repeat themselves because they haven't been healed. And that's not anything bad on you, or God and the universe are not punishing you. It's just that you are still operating at that vibration that you're continually creating it.
Yeah.
Cool. So another tip would be to start reducing stress on your daily basis by giving yourself a bit of a reboot. So a lot of times people are operating in their fight or flight mode. And what we really want to do is tap into that rest and digest. So another way of saying that is your parasympathetic nervous system. That's getting a little bit scientific. But that is when your entire body and all of the systems are relaxed and are functioning at their optimal range. So one way of getting into the rest and digest is to, let's set aside like 5 minutes a day, whether it be in the morning, in afternoon, whatever it is. You can even do it multiple times a day. Set aside 5 minutes in a quiet space and tune into your breath. This is where the deep breathing, inhale, exhale, will really start to slow down your heart rate. It'll allow your thoughts to come in clear.
In through your nose, out through your mouth, right?
Yes, in through your nose, out through your mouth. You can visualize like breathing in white light or purity or energy, whatever it is, and you're exhaling all the gunk. So the saying, inhale the good shit, exhale the bad shit.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if we can swear. Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Okay, I was like, wait, I was going to say that
just
a little
don't
more
say,
quiet.
you know, keep it.
Yes, somewhat clean.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then tune into, as you're taking your deep breaths, tune into how you're feeling. Tune into your body. Are you tense? Is your jaw tight? Are your fists clenched? Is your chest, does it feel heavy? What is it? And then get curious and ask yourself, okay, why am I feeling this way? What have I done to create this in my day right now? And this is a point where you can take some accountability and have some compassion for yourself as well. This isn't about judgment. It's not about beating up on yourself, but it's about tuning into, okay, what have I done to create this right now? Okay, cool. maybe I didn't do this, or I was running late, and so I'm in a frantic motion, and I'm pointing fingers at people, and whatever it is, it's kind of a ripple effect. So just tune into that, get clear on that, and then say, close your eyes and start to visualize how you now want to feel. Allow the senses to come in, envision the rest of your day. How can you shift it? And just really get into the feeling of what that looks like and the way you're interacting with people, how you're shifting that. And then make a decision, whatever's on your top priority and in alignment with now stepping into who you just visualized in that brief few minutes. What's the one thing that you can do to step into that? And then go do that.
Yeah, so like yesterday, a good example of that was that you're like, what is one thing that is really, that you're feeling stuck? And I'm like, it's my closet. And it was one simple step that I just went and cleared out a bunch of things, and I felt so much better. It's like, I think that's the physical thing we can do to, just something so quickly, and like 5 minutes of doing something to clear out and make room for something.
Yeah, I was just talking to my friend about that this morning, talking about decluttering and how much physical items hold an energy. And it's not only just like cluttering our physical space, it's cluttering our mental space, our energetic space.
Sorry.
And so, oh yeah, go for it.
Drive me crazy.
And we don't realize how much everything impacts our energy. And so by clearing out your physical space, you naturally begin to feel more clear, more open, more creative. So if there's any clutter in your space or in your life, in your schedule, what's one thing that you can implement this week to start to clear that space out? Because if you want to step into this new person or create these new things in your life, you have to create space for it. So think of it like you're in a room, you're in a living room, and in order to get new furniture, you have to get rid of the old, right?
Yeah. Same stuff.
Yeah, totally. So those are just some simple tools that you guys can kind of start to implement to kind of create that mind-body connection and tapping into your brain and your body. And another thing that we can just quickly touch on is the 3 brains and creating more awareness on how to tune into your body. So basically the 3 brains would be our head, our heart, and our gut. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Yeah.
People don't talk about it a whole lot. I mean, maybe some people do. But
we started this, I used to, we started Intuition Academy because my mom would always tell me, listen to your gut, trust your gut. I think that's it. But sometimes we don't know what that means, right? Like we could really use some practice or education about it for sure.
Totally, yeah. So the first brain that we have is the one that's our head. That's where like our cognitive functions are. A lot of our subconscious thoughts are stored, are the way we're creating things. That's how it's happening. And that's how we kind of make meaning of our life. The next one is our heart. So that's our emotional brain. And that's kind of based around like our values in our life. And a lot of people, again, with the saying, trust your heart. What does your heart tell you? Follow your heart. There's a reason why people say that, because it's very feeling based versus in our head, that's a lot more ego. So the heart is a lot more feeling based. And then our third brain is our gut, and that's like about our core identity and tells us what we are and what we are not. So again, going with the trust your gut. That is so powerful, and so many people discount it as not really being something of importance, or there's a lot of conflict, I think, between the brain and the gut.
The ego. But all I can do is picture like this infinity sign and how beautiful it is when they're connected,
Oh yeah, I love
your
that.
Heart, in the center is your heart, and you got your brain. But
totally,
when it's in flow, it feels so. You can tell when you're in flow.
Yeah, no, I love that, and it's creating that connection versus, oh, the head's bad, the heart's pretty good, the gut's
disconnected at all.
Yeah. So it's not judging which one's better than the other, but it's learning how to create a symbiotic relationship between all of them. So a way to utilize the three brains is to be aware of the different roles. So for example, the heart is to express its emotional intelligence and wisdom by listening to it rather than shutting down your feelings. So that's one way that you can acknowledge those feelings. What is your heart telling you? What is it saying? Versus if we were to go back to our old ways and not be expressive of what's coming up for us and repress and not share what's really happening with our emotions, that's going to shut down that heart center. And then that's going to create that imbalance between the head, the heart, and the gut. And then with the gut brain, taking good physical care of your digestive system by eating really good high vibe foods, like that's going to totally optimize your gut brain and keep it optimal. And what's crazy is, so the brain has 100 million neurons, but the gut has 500 million nerve cells and 100 million neurons. So the brain has way more nerve cell, or not the brain, the gut brain has way more, I want to make sure I say it right. Yeah, intelligence. Yeah. And we're totally discounting it. There's so many nerve cells happening. And so when your body's trying to tell you something, it's telling the gut. And that's why if you're in a bad situation, something bad happens, you're like, oh, you know what? I just knew in my gut something was off. It's because it was, and your energy picked up on it, and the only way your body could tell your brain was to have your gut have a reaction. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. And when you're consistently not having a good relationship with your body, you'll immediately start seeing how that affects the rest of your world. So it's amazing what it's like when they are all, again, in flow. I've been in the disconnect. I know it just feels so dark, but it did seem that as soon as I started breathing and then actually incorporating some greens into my life, that I was like, oh, they're into something there.
There's something here.
Right. Oh. So they're simple, and it's a little bit of building a habit, but it's not that hard.
Yeah. And once you tune into how good you feel when you treat your body with love and high vibe foods and just good thoughts, everything else begins to shift. It's not like there's a lot of punishment around food and that eating healthy is a punishment and deprivation, but really it's look at all the things it's creating for your mind and your body. It's allowing you to think clearly, to be clear on your purpose. It's giving you energy. It's allowing you to be creative. It's just, it does so much for you that once you tap into that purpose behind it and what it creates, that junk food is it's not really a thing anymore, because you realize it's lowering your vibration and it's getting you out of tune with all of the centers, all of the brains in your body.
Especially wine. Or, just that has been, I used to love wine, but then when I started tapping into how I could feel it. Now, the more you tap in and get into that intuition, you just feel it. So
yeah,
I didn't feel guilty about not, I feel like I have to go to AA or what all, it's just I naturally was able to limit it and only use it in these celebratory ways because it's still raising my vibration.
Yeah, completely. That's one way to look at food or alcohol or anything that you're putting into your body. Yeah. Is this going to raise my vibration or is it going to lower it? What's another way you would say vibration for people that might not quite get that?
Well, when people say, it doesn't matter what you say, but it's how you make somebody feel. Or your vibe attracts your tribe. Or, and I know that we have these, there's different senses, and to explain it, I'm not very good, but, did that answer? That didn't answer the question, but... So
your vibe, your energy that
you
you're
don't have to
out.
speak anything, your vibe will attract you, or, introduce you. You don't have to say a word, and so...
Totally.
And the more sensitive human beings are, you're starting to notice a lot more people being intuitive because it's our next sense to be developed, I believe. We've got our 5 sense. Well, the 6th sense is a natural evolution, I believe, in our senses. And so at that point, what's cool about it is like I get to be totally transparent. You know, I don't have to, I get to show up as myself all the time without any excuses or feeling bad about it. Or so I just really love that environment that I'm creating for myself with being around other intuitive people. At first it's scary as hell because I'm like, oh my gosh, they're going to know all these things about me.
Yeah.
Or, you know, like, what do they know? But at that point, when I feel like secrets are trapped emotions, you know, it's
100%.
So,
a lot of shame and guilt. That's the
so
emotion
much shame
attached behind it.
But the minute I was able to not only recognize who I am, but love it and nurture it, and then just share my flaws, like, there's no more secrets anymore. And, you know, so it just feels really good to just be totally transparent and authentic
I love that.
through this process.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So just to kind of close off on that topic, really for a message for you to take away is that your body is always talking to you. Your body has all the answers. It is not the enemy. These illnesses, these diseases, these sicknesses, they are not the enemy. Your body is trying to talk to you and tell you what's happening.
And
it's trying to
heal
course
it.
correct. Yeah, to
We
heal.
can heal it, you know, not only through, you know, prescriptions and things. That I truly know and believe that by healing some of these emotions and working through them, heals dis-ease in our body.
Completely. That's why a lot of disease manifests is because of our thought on a low operating system. I guess it's low energy thoughts. So you're creating low energy things. You're creating more dense things within your body. The illness is like a manifestation of where your thoughts reside because you are creating it. And love your body and realize it's always trying to talk to you. It's far more powerful than we give it credit. So when something comes up in the body, just talk to it, ask it, like, what are you trying to tell me here? What's this pain trying to say? Where's this pain coming from? What am I holding on to that I get to let go of? And I think if you can really give your body some credit and thank it for all the things that it does do for you, you'll start to realize that, again, your body has all the answers and you're in complete relationship with your body and you guys can work together.
I love it. All right.
So to kind of round things up, I know Shelly mentioned the retreat in the beginning. We're going to keep talking about that and posting that. Yeah. And really, for anyone who's wanting to release certain emotions that are coming up and don't really know how, we're going to be doing some things like yoga, some movement, sound baths, and sound healing. The wave of the sound is what helps create healing within your body. So really, you don't have to do anything. You just have to listen and just be with it.
And beautiful
some meditation.
Snowbird.
And meditation, getting out in Mother Nature. Mother Nature absorbs all those energies. So if you've really been feeling stuck in your body and you feel like, I have all these emotions, I don't know what to do with them, that will be a beautiful tool for you. So again, May 12th up at Snowbird. We're going to keep you posted on that. Yeah. It's about a half-day retreat. It's going to just have all the best vibes and amazing healers, and we just really want to share our tools with you and help create this connection with other women. And so tune in to our call next week, next Tuesday, again, 7 p.m.
What are we talking about next week? Do you remember?
Next week, we're going to get into how to integrate mindfulness practices and how to create more peace in your lives. So we'll talk about that, get a little more integrated in how you can start to embody this human that you want to become.
Yeah.
And
there it went.
and it disconnected, I think. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
See
We'll
ya.
see you next week.